I recently flew the Victor 65 route in Perth out of Jandakot. It was a lovely flight. I wanted to create a video about my experience so that other private pilots that are not familiar with how to fly the Victor 65 route can learn from my experience, and also as something I can use myself as a refresher in the future. But first, disclaimer, this is not controlled information. The onus of responsibility is on you, the pilot in command, to make sure you are properly briefed with current and up-to-date information on the day. So please keep that in mind. I'm only sharing my experience with you for entertainment and informational purposes. So don't hold me accountable. Not my fault. If you fly through controlled airspace, it's on you to check things on the day. So let's get to it. Pre-flighting the Cessna 182. And hot tip for you, if you are checking the under the engine fuel drain, try not to do it when you're downwind. Otherwise, you might get a face full of avgas like this. Delicious. Delicious face full of avgas right there. That was a nice way to start the flight. It was a lovely day. It was a Sunday afternoon. A little bit windy, but that's typical for this time of the year. And in this video, I'm only going to talk about the things that are interesting with regard to how to do Victor 65. I was a little bit surprised that when I was trying to research and prepare for my Victor 65 flight, and this was the second time I've flown Victor 65, by the way. So super experienced now. As you can see, I've done it 2 times. That makes me an expert. Definitely not. But when I was trying to prepare for and learn about how to fly Victor 65, I was pretty shocked and disappointed with how little information I could actually find about that route. And CASA's documents, Stay on Track, Flying the Perth Region, doesn't mention anything about Victor 65, which I find very surprising. So CASA, if you're watching, maybe next time you update that document, you want to include a couple of pages about Victor 65. If you would like to see my flight plan that I submitted in NAPES, I'll share a link in the description. You can check that out. That'll be linked up. You can look at the VTC charts and you'll see the entry point is Cottesloe. The exit point is Herdsman's Lake. But what's missing there, and I only found one reference to this anywhere online in some obscure forum from a long time ago, is what you'll need for your flight plan, and you will need to lodge a flight plan if you plan to do Victor 65. But what you're missing, and again, it's pretty hard to find anything about this, is you'll need to mention tracking via Perth City. That's the thing that you can't really find mentioned anywhere. Perth City, Papa, Charlie, Tango, Yankee. It's not on the VTC. I don't think it's anywhere in Ursa. I would have liked to have flown Victor 65 much earlier, but it took me a very, very long time to research and understand how to go about doing it. Everybody good? Let's go. Obviously, before you fly into controlled airspace, you will need an Airways clearance. Pretty obvious, right? And you have a couple of options as to when you call Perth Centre to initiate the process of getting that Airways clearance happening. Personally, I like to do things sooner rather than later. I mean, you could even call them prior to starting the engine. And I think that's what I did a year ago. I called Perth Centre 13525 and we got a squawk code. And then you can call them again, maybe approaching Fremantle Golf Course. This time, my second time flying Victor 65, I called Perth Centre. And I started the process when we're in the run-up bay prior to takeoff. Again, I just got the squawk code. And then when you get airborne, you know that Perth Centre can see you on their radar. So they know you're airborne. They know you're planning to fly Victor 65 and you can help them out to manage their workload. The alternative to that, and something I don't recommend, is you could wait until you're at Fremantle Golf Course or even a little bit after there. I think you're leaving it a little bit too late at that point. You also have higher workload yourself at that point. So I really recommend you consider requesting your Airways clearance before you even start the engine. Climbing out on crosswind off runway 24 right, heading towards Fiona Stanley Hospital. And if you're not familiar with Jandakot, just be aware that Fiona Stanley Hospital is actually much closer than the water. So if you are getting close to the water, you're going too far. Over the top of Fiona Stanley Hospital, left turn for Fremantle Golf Course, climb to 1,500. And at some point, when workload permits, you can check in with Perth Centre again. At this point, we're tracking towards Freo Golf Course, and I don't think I had contacted Perth Centre again yet for a couple of reasons. Firstly, no need to rush. We're still in the Jandakot control zone, so let's focus our attention on traffic awareness, listening out for ATC there. We can wait. Additionally, Perth Centre, I was monitoring that frequency as well, and they were also a little bit busy themselves, so I didn't really get a chance to check in with them until we got to somewhere around here. You can see heading over towards Cottesloe here from Fremantle. Nice day, but at this point, we were still waiting on our Airways clearance. Right here in the middle of the screen, we can see Cottesloe. A little bit further up the coast, we're looking towards Scarborough. Lovely view of Perth City. It wasn't until the very last minute where we were already over the top of Cottesloe that we finally got our clearance. Last time I flew Victor 65, Perth Centre handed us over to Perth Departures or Perth Director. I can't remember. It doesn't really matter. Follow the instructions and you'll be fine. On this second time flying Victor 65, we stayed with Perth Centre. So we got our Airways clearance at Cottesloe. We cleared Victor 65, 1,500. And that's it. Lovely, lovely view. And there's not a whole lot to think about from a workload management perspective. Once we got our Airways clearance at Cottesloe, the next time we spoke to Perth Centre was as we were leaving controlled airspace. In the interim, the only things you really need to think about are maintaining 1,500, being careful with your tracking, pay special attention to not go anywhere to the east of the casino. You need to remain west of the casino, which you can see just down there off the nose, actually, as we're making a left turn. And you might want to point out some of the popular landmarks. For example, there's Optus Stadium. Your passengers might not be so aware what they're looking at. They might be seeing these things from the sky for the first time. Just coming into view here now, you can see Herdsman's Lake. And from the casino area, about where we are now, if you point approximately heading 300, you'll be heading in approximately the right direction and you'll see it. It's right there in front of you. It's really, really hard to miss. Already visible on the horizon in the middle of the screen right there is the Rendezvous Hotel at Scarborough Beach. When we exited controlled airspace, we basically tracked straight over to Scarborough using the Rendezvous Hotel as a really easy point to track towards. Somewhere around here, Perth Centre contacted us, let us know that we were leaving controlled airspace. And that's it. I'm going to speed things up a little bit here because we're already done with the Victor 65 portion of this flight. The rest of it is straightforward. I'm not going to cover how to get in and out of Jandakot. If you're interested, I mean, you can read all about it in Ursa, and that's what you definitely should do. But if you want to see me fly that, maybe if enough people ask for it, I can cover that in another video. As you can see, we are now approaching the coast and we are outside of controlled airspace. There's the Rendezvous Hotel. Pretty hard to miss right there. It makes it very handy for tracking. From this point on, we're done with the Victor 65 portion of the flight. Straight over the Rendezvous Hotel, left turn, flying over water down the coast. 1,500. Refresh the ATIS approaching Powerhouse and then inbound to Jandakot. It's a lovely flight. Even if you don't get the clearance to fly Victor 65, just going for a little fly up and down the coast is really, really beautiful. Nice look at Port Beach and Fremantle here. And in the distance, you can see Powerhouse. It goes Powerhouse inbound towards Adventure World. We're cleared to maintain 1,500, which is what you'll get almost always. You can see Jandakot Airport there off the nose. Still runway 24 right in use. When we called at Adventure World, we were cleared visual approach, join downwind runway 24 right. At that point, you can start your descent. And you can see here, we're making our way to join downwind runway 24 right. Beautiful aircraft. I love Cessna 182s. Height, heading, speed, spacing, bumfish, free landing checks. And we are looking good. Turning on to final approach here. Nice view of runway 24 left here. Looks like there's actually an aircraft on the runway, just getting airborne. They probably did a touch and go. Here we are, short finals. Let's see how we go. It does get a little bit bumpy around here sometimes, so be careful. Can we jag it? Can we jag it? Let's see, let's see. Oh, not too bad. Got lucky on that one. Special thanks to Phil and Dakota for helping out filming. If you want to read more about this flight, like I said, I will share my flight notification down below. If you've done this many, many times, feel free to let me know what I missed in this video or perhaps what I got wrong. I don't live in Perth. I just want to come and fly there occasionally. And maybe I'll plan to fly Victor 65 once or twice a year. So if you are very experienced flying Victor 65, feel free to share your experiences down below. Otherwise, have a great day, and you might want to check out this video next.